Hello and welcome. Today, we're diving into the incredible story of Maryam bint Imran. Now, she's famous as the mother of a great prophet, but what we're going to explore is how her own life, from the very beginning, was a profound miracle in its own right.
Right, so this is the core idea we're unpacking today. Maryam wasn't just the person who gave birth to a miracle. Her entire life was woven with these incredible divine signs. So let's get into the moments that really make her story so special. Her story doesn't even start with her birth. It starts before that, with her family's deep faith and a really powerful vow that her mother made, which basically set the course for her entire life.
So, to really get who Maryam was, you've got to look at where she came from. The family of Imran, they were seen as a total beacon of faith, a lineage known for their piety and knowledge. This was the kind of environment, this rich soil of faith, that was perfect for raising a child who would be completely dedicated to God. And it all starts with such a beautifully human moment. Maryam's mother, who couldn't have children, sees a bird feeding its baby, and her heart just aches with that desire for a child of her own. And in that moment of pure, raw emotion, she makes this prayer and a solemn promise. God, if you give me a child, I will dedicate them completely to you. And she uses this very specific, very powerful word for her vow, muharraran. This wasn't just a casual promise. It meant the child would be completely freed from all worldly things, focused only on worship, and devoted to serving in the holy sanctuary. It was like the ultimate spiritual commitment you could make for your child.
So, when Maryam was born, her mother was a bit taken aback. Why? Because serving in the sanctuary, well, that was a role for boys. But God's plan was so much bigger. He accepted this little girl, named her Maryam, which means the devout worshiper, and put her on a path that nobody could have possibly imagined.
All right, so this unique birth led to a really unique childhood. From a young age, Maryam's life was different. It was about solitude, devotion, and all these little signs that showed God was taking special care of her. So after her father passed away, all the top scholars wanted the honor of raising this special child. To decide, they did something incredible. They threw their pens into a river. All the pens just floated away with the current, except for one, the pen of the prophet Zechariah. It stood firm against the water. It was a clear sign. God himself had picked her guardian.
And the miracles just kept coming. As she was growing up in her private room for worship, her guardian, Zechariah, would come in and find her with fruit that was completely out of season. We're talking summer fruits in the dead of winter and winter fruits in the heat of summer. It just shouldn't have been possible.
And when Zechariah asked her, "Where did you get this?" her answer was so simple, yet so profound. It is from Allah. Her faith was so pure, so absolute, that it actually inspired the prophet Zechariah, who was old by then, to pray for his own miracle, a child. That's how powerful her trust was. But this life of peaceful devotion, it was all building up to something. It was preparation for the biggest test imaginable. This next part of her life would challenge everything, her faith, her purity, her strength, in a way no one had ever faced before. So while she's in seclusion, the angel Gabriel, appears to her. But here's the thing. He doesn't look like an angel. He appears in the form of a perfect, flawless man. And this is seen as a deliberate test. It's not about a physical threat. It's a test of her inner purity, her God consciousness, when faced with this unexpected presence. And her reaction, instantly, tells you everything you need to know about her. Before anything else, she says, "I seek refuge in God from you." She doesn't ask questions. She doesn't engage. She turns straight to the divine for protection. That one sentence shows that her purity wasn't just an act. It was who she was deep down. The angel then gives her the news. She will have a son by God's command alone. After this miraculous conception, she pulls away from everyone. But this wasn't an act of shame. It was an act of incredible faith. She took this silent, lonely trial and turned it into a private conversation with God, an act of worship. Now, this part of the story is just so raw and so real. In the middle of childbirth, all alone, leaning against a dead palm tree, she just hits her breaking point. The pain, the fear, the loneliness, it all becomes too much, and she cries out, wishing she had never existed. It's such a human moment, and it makes the divine help that comes next even more powerful. And in that moment of despair, help arrives. And it's so clear and direct.
First, God tells her to shake the palm tree, a little reminder that you still have to put in the effort, even when miracles are happening. Ripe dates fall down, giving her food and strength. And then, the most important instruction: stay silent. Don't defend yourself. God will take care of it. Okay, so now we get to the climax of this whole ordeal. She has to go back to her people, holding a newborn baby, knowing exactly what they're all going to think and say. And, just as you'd expect, they're horrified. They accuse her of the worst sin imaginable, reminding her of her pious family. But Maryam, following God's command, doesn't say a single word. She just points to the baby in her arms. And they laugh at her, right? They mock her. What are we supposed to do? Talk to a baby in a cradle?
And then it happens. The absolute miracle. The baby, Isa, Jesus, speaks from the cradle. And his very first words are a declaration: I am the servant of Allah. He establishes his own mission before he even defends his mother. In that one moment, every accusation disappears. Her name is cleared in the most incredible way possible. So, this entire journey, from that sacred vow before her birth, all the way to her name being cleared by a talking baby, it all cements her status as a truly unparalleled figure.
I mean, just look at her honors. She's the only woman mentioned by name in the entire Quran. She's given the title as-Siddiqa, which means the truthful one, a spiritual rank that's just one step below being a prophet. The scripture literally says she was chosen above the women of the world, and she's named as one of the 4 greatest women in all of history. When you boil it all down, Maryam's story is this incredible lesson in devotion. Her greatest honor wasn't just that she was the mother of a prophet. It was that she earned God's love and protection through her own piety, her own patience, her own absolute trust. She turned away from the world and focused only on the Creator, and in return, the Creator turned fully toward her.